Doma Sports Talk, worldwide, with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, bam. I ain't said nothing yet, but let's go up to them heavyweights, right? Go up to the heavyweights. It's still the residue from Andy Ruiz Jr. Major upset of Anthony Joshua, right? It was an upset, and we have to say it was a major upset, especially for casual fans, right? People in the know knew that the possibility was there, but the promoter of Tyson Fury, Bob Arum, old guy, decorated legend, right? I don't like him too much because he does a lot of stuff, says a lot of things. But anyway, Bob Arum, right? He says that Joshua will never be the same. A rematch with Andy Ruiz is insane because Joshua was going to never be the same. And hence that, right? Because I was telling you, and I even gave you the analogy, a tennis analogy, back in the day. A tennis player named Steffi Graf was the Mike Tyson of tennis. The players that were playing the top 10 at the time, the Gabriela Sabatins, Gianna Novotnas, Arantxa Sanchez Vicarios, and a few other names, even Zena Garrison back in the day, all of them were not beating her at the time. And she was taking people out under an hour most of the time until a little girl named Monica Seles came along and beat her a few times. Then that gave other ones confidence, and other ones started beating her every now and then. Still rarely. Don't get it twisted. She was still Steffi Graf, but Monica Seles, that aura of invincibility, that was not. And the same thing has happened to Anthony Joshua, and this is the same thing that Bob Arum is talking about here. Bob Arum says a lot of things. He said, your boy Andy Ruiz Jr. is a nice guy. He has fast hands and fast feet, but he has absolutely no punch. That's what Arum says. Now he has a better punch than absolutely not, but he says he has absolutely no punch, right? And he's just saying if Ruiz can knock down Anthony Joshua 4 times, then anyone can. And this is very similar to what I'm saying. People are going to go in there with the belief, which means they might stay in the pocket when Joshua is throwing those punches to make sure to land theirs, right? Because I think now the general consensus will be that Joshua doesn't have a chin. That's what it's going to be because he was rocked many times before then. So I don't know if too many people are going to be staying on the outside on that. So Arum is just saying, man, give this guy some fights. Forget about the titles. Rebuild this guy. We've heard the same thing from George Foreman and others. They don't want him to fight him. Now, the thing is, what I'm saying is this. He's going from one of the greatest of all time, and let people from England tell it, right, to not being able to deal with the Andy Ruiz Jr. or basically anyone else. Because if you don't put him against Andy Ruiz Jr., you're going to probably have to do a Tyson Fury and a Gennady Golovkin and Steve Rosen or Tom Swartzen, somebody without knockout power. Like Golovkin, his next fight is going to be against somebody, Zemureta, who got about 4 knockouts. That's what they keep doing. And that's what you're going to probably have to do because at the end of the day, anybody in that top 6 or 7, you ain't going to want Joshua to fight right now. You think about it. You want Joshua to fight Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz right now? I don't really think you do. I don't think even to a lesser extent like a Dillian White, maybe not even a Joseph Parker rematch, right? So, who? So there's the problem with that because Anthony Joshua still will probably be able to fill up stadiums in England. I don't know how long that'll go. But, so it's a risk putting him in there with Andy Ruiz Jr., but I think at the end of the day, it's a risk putting him in with anyone. You would want him, definitely wouldn't want him to be beaten by a lesser opponent than Andy Ruiz Jr. I'm not saying no slight to Andy Ruiz Jr., but somebody who perceived as a lesser opponent than Andy Ruiz Jr. That would even be more dangerous. So the bottom line is there's a conundrum here. They got something that they're going to have to do. I don't know what it's going to be with Anthony Joshua. I think they should just go and do the rematch because, like you say, you better lose. If you're going to lose, let it be to the guy, Andy Ruiz Jr., and then instead of someone less than that. But it's really looking bad with Anthony Joshua, and that's how it does after losses in boxing. Right? Boxing, you lose, then it's the end of the world. Now, let's just see what happens going forward with Anthony Joshua. And I'm glad he's rematching Andy Ruiz Jr. I'm personally glad to see what we got, where he stands. Right? Now, I'm going to use this video to also talk about some of the other fat champions, right? Because, you know, Andy Ruiz Jr., people are checking his body and stuff like that, like we've never seen this before, a guy that's not fit, and we're seeing it right now. You can look at Adam Kanaki. Adam Kanaki beat up Gerald Washington. Isn't he fit, right? Beating him up. Kanaki's beating up anybody that's stepping in the ring with him, and Kanaki's not fit, right? So there's one right now in the top 5 or 6 that's also, you know, not going to be a model anytime soon, right? So we've seen that. I mean, so there's one just right now. Dominic Brazil is not going to be, you know, trained the greatest ever. He beat up a lot of people. When Brazil beat up Uganau looked like Anthony Joshua. Brazil beat him. So, you know, there's people that are fat. You know, Larry Holmes, best jab in the business ever, right? Larry Holmes never could get that gut away, really. You know what I mean? And there's a few of them. You remember David Price? I like to mention because it's the same scenario as Joshua almost, right? Tony Thompson is never going to get fit. Never would. I was always wondering, well, what'd you get that extra off of you? Tony Thompson came and beat up David Price twice. So, you know, this is Britain has seen it. Chris Arreola made it close to being a champion. You know, challenged 3 times for the championship, and anybody that's less than championship level probably wouldn't be the Chris Arreola 2 or 3 years ago or longer ago. Maybe now. And the Chris Arreola is going to fight Kanaki. 2 guys that don't look, you know, so great going to fight each other, and that is going to be a barn burner. Watch what I tell you. So there's a lot of people. Even Bermain Stavern never could get it fit. But he can beat lesser fighters. He can beat Chris Arreola back in the day. So there's a lot of guys that are not going to look great in boxing and can handle their business because it's boxing. And when you keep talking stuff to these fat guys, Chris Arreola, among others, have said, well, why don't you come spar with some of us instead of talking stuff from afar? Because these so-called fat guys are skilled, talented, and understand the game of boxing. This is not the game of modeling, right? This is the game of boxing. So throughout the history, there's been guys that don't look that great, but handle their business. And we're seeing it right now. In our top 10 is about 2 or 3 guys that don't look the part, but damn it, step to them, right? So anyway, back to Anthony Joshua. I think he should take the rematch because if you lose somebody less, you're going to be in trouble, right? So go right back up in there to Andy Ruiz. Prepare accordingly. Dope Sports Talk. Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.